The step vault is one of the most commonly used vaults. Getting good at this foundational step vault leads to more advanced vaults, but also variations of how to use the step vault. You want to get really good at both sides because you never know which side you're going to have to use. With the step vault, basic thing is you're making a window and stepping through. With my window, my hand with an opposite foot is going to make the window. When you walk, you reciprocate. You use opposite hand, opposite foot. So as you approach the box, you're naturally already in that position to go opposite hand, opposite foot. With my window, I want to make sure I'm using the majority of the box, as much as the box as I need to. The smaller my window, the harder it is to step through. The more upright I am, the bigger my window, the more space for me to step through, and the less upright I have to be with my chest, which is gonna make me more efficient at moving here as opposed to going up and down. With the step vault, it's maintaining that momentum. The straighter my chest can be, the faster, more efficient I'm going to be. If I'm going up and down, that's slower and wasting energy and direction. Even with this smaller box, if I just go to jump over it, my momentum's going down, up, down, and then forward. With that step vault, I'm trying to maintain as best I can my chest moving in a straight line. So as I'm moving forward, my chest stays about the same height. Getting good at both sides. I want to utilize my hand to help direct the direction that I move out of the step vault. For a basic step vault, I'm trying to move straight out of it, so I want my fingers and my hand to point in the direction I'm moving, along with my foot. My foot and my hand stay on the box until my other foot threads through and touches the ground. From here, if you look at my foot, it's straight on. This is going to be better on my knee. If I'm here and going that way, my knee is taking pressure in a direction that it's not good to. So I'm here with my foot still on the box. If this is a stable obstacle, I'm able to push off the box to move quicker out. One of the common mistakes that we see is that people break the window. They kick their window. So I have my hand, foot, and then instead of threading through, they kick their foot off. I've now landed on 2 feet, which is now stopping my momentum. Another common mistake that we see is that people will step around. If I step around, I'm no longer facing the direction I'm trying to go. It's not just about getting over the box. The idea behind the step vault, behind any vault, is being efficient and safe. One hand, opposite foot, pointed in the direction I'm going, stepping through, pointed in the direction I'm going, stepping out. With that step vault, what I think about is that I am stepping, stepping, stepping. One of the reasons the step vault is the more commonly used vault is because it's a very controlled vault. If I don't know how stable my obstacle is or what's on the other side, I can be in a position where I can stop, or I can even kick back if it starts to fall over. If I'm running up and I jump and I get into my step vault and I see that there's a big hole or nails or glass on the other side, I can control myself. If I'm doing other vaults, it's a lot harder to stop. If I'm ever in a situation where I don't know how stable the obstacle is or what's on the other side, I'll default to the step vault. I can use my hand to help direct me in a different direction. If I want to go more at an angle, I'm not going to have my fingers straight, but I'll be more in a position where my fingers are pointing where I want to go. But again, my knee and foot are tracking in the direction that I go. Your knee is meant to bend here, not here or here. As you start to pattern making that window, stepping through and stepping out, you then want to start to add a jump. Vaulting is not climbing or stepping over something, It's jumping over something while using your hands. A lot of time, the hand is to reposition your upper body. If you make too small of a window, not only do I have a smaller window to move through, which risks me clipping, but now I have to get more straight, which may cause me to take my hand off. I'm more going up and down. The next progression is to jump into the window. I'm gonna approach, jump into my window, and then step through. As you're getting comfortable with this, you're gonna be jumping and having your hand and foot land about the same time as you step through. As you get better at this, reaching down and jumping is counterproductive. Eventually, you want to get to the point where your foot is going to hit a little bit before your hand. When you're just starting this, hand and foot cycles through. As you're jumping into it, the foot is going to hit first, your leg is going to start to cycle into that thread through, then your hand hits. As you add the jumping into the window, you also want to start running into it, creating more momentum, and then get used to running out of it. As I approach, I should be able to use either side. That way, depending on how close I am to the obstacle, no matter what foot I'm on to jump into, I'm in a good position because I can do either side. Different variations of the step vault, using it to get down, maintaining your momentum. We utilize our step vault when we get into our climb down. One hand, opposite foot. This is that step vault position that I can then turn into the rest of my climb down. The better you get at this basic foundational step vault, the easier, the faster, the more advanced, cooler looking, faster versions of the step vault and other vaults will come. Another variation of the step vault is combining it with that ground Kong or that Kong up. Instead of jumping and landing my feet first, I'm gonna dive out, control it with my hands, and then use the step vault to get through. With this one, I'm not gonna have my hands in the middle like I would on a Kong up. I'm gonna choose a side to put my hands to. I don't wanna be way out here like this because that's not very stable. Having my hands to one side just a little bit, leaving enough room for my foot to make that window to step through. You can use this one if there's an obstacle that's a little higher and you can't jump to get your foot on. You can practice diving out, getting your butt nice and high, and then stepping on, stepping through. You can also utilize this to get down off of an obstacle. Scooping to that table, making my window, stepping through, getting down. The idea behind that is if I do my step vault from here, which you can, there's a lot of change in height of my chest. A lot more to control, more up and down. If I scoop to my table, I'm getting my chest lower, and then I can move out in a more straight, level fashion with my chest, which can be a little bit more efficient. The step vault then leads into the thief. With the thief, it's the same mechanics as the step vault. I'm approaching it the same. One hand, instead of stepping on the box, this foot is going to go over and I'm gonna put my back hand on. The progression into the thief is then to start with the step vault, one hand, opposite foot. As I step through, I replace that back leg with my back hand. Again, going into my step vault, making my window, kicking through. As that back foot comes off, replacing it with my back hand. As you get comfortable with that, you want to start to put less and less weight on that foot and rely more on that back hand. Key thing with the thief is you don't want your hips going really high. You want to keep your hips nice and close to the box, almost like you're skimming over it, so that when you put that back hand, there's not a lot of weight that's coming down on the wrist and elbow. You don't want to putting a lot of weight on that back hand. As I approach this, I keep that butt nice and close. From an efficiency standpoint, moving this way as opposed to up and down. Next progression is to use that foot less and less as I go into that step vault, getting to that backhand a lot quicker until eventually I'm really throwing that leg over, driving that hip and that leg, getting my hips up, getting that backhand on. We use that thief vault to get down as well. Now, instead of going here and then stepping, I'm gonna kick that leg through, remembering that you don't want your hips to be too high. I almost drag my knees, drag my feet to keep my hips nice and low so that I'm staying moving in a forward direction, straight direction, as well as not putting too much weight on that back elbow. The step vault also leads into the speed vault. Same mechanics. If I'm approaching and I'm using my left hand, I'm jumping off my left foot, just like I would with my step vault, so that I would use that opposite right foot to make my window. With the speed vault, what you want to think of is that everything is the same side. If I'm using my left hand, I'm jumping off my left foot, and I'm landing on my left foot. I'm just removing that right-footed step on top of here. Step, step. With the step vault, I would go here, left, left, left. For the speed vault, I'm just removing this. Not using this foot is going to allow me to get over the box faster. The speed vault is about speed. Momentum and speed are going to be your friend. With this, I know how stable the obstacle is. I know what's on the other side. Again, like I said earlier, if I don't know those two things, I'll do the step vault. You can do the step vault fast, especially if you know what's on the other side. But again, a lot of times I'm using that step vault in a safe, controlled fashion. With that speed vault, again, like I said with that step vault, I'm utilizing that hand to get my chest back upright. If I move my chest here, it brings my legs higher, which makes it so I have to jump less to get over the box. My legs are, for the most part, coming straight up and a little bit to the side and then straight back down. We don't want them to swing up and then swing back down. The straighter line that my feet can be up and then back down, the faster, and then that hand pushes to position my chest upright again. Progressing into the speed vault, you're doing the step vault on an obstacle where you know that it's stable and you know what's on the other side, but you're progressively doing a faster step vault. As you progress with that faster step vault, the faster and faster you get, you will start to naturally use the foot on the box less and less. There's less time to use it, so you start to, without even meaning to, use it less. Some people like to add a little bit of a step here, especially when progressing into the speed, because then they're still used to going hand, step, step. Not only does it help with the mechanic similar to that step vault, can be a little bit more flashy, a little bit quicker than the step vault, and it's a good progression leading into that more functional speed vault. If you have a wall or another box close by, you can also start to, instead of stepping on top of the box, step to the side, getting used to bringing your feet more up here. A functional, more efficient, faster step vault is going to be legs more up straight, a little bit of an angle, and then straight back down. You're not wanting to do a lot of floating. It's skimming over the top. It's very quick. Faster I get my legs up, faster I get my legs down, the faster I get to moving out of it.